Welcome back to ARC Tutorials. This is Testing Concept Series, where we are learning about the different concepts that are available as part of our day-to-day testing activities. These concepts are equally important for both QA as well as developer community. This is part 18 of the series. Today we are learning about alpha testing. This is a complete playlist tutorial index. Make sure that you have checked out all the concepts so that your concepts are clear and you have continuity in your learning. Today we are in the episode number 18. Alright, so today we are talking about alpha testing. Before that, let's talk a little bit about what is alpha testing. Alpha testing is a type of software testing that is typically conducted at the end of development process, after the software has been developed and before it's released to general public. Now there are two important sentences here. One, that alpha testing is conducted at the end of development process. Now typically if you're working in an agile or scrum kind of a model, you would have a release candidate, which means the release that you want to release it to the public, right? Now that's called the end of development process in agile. Second, before it is released to general public, what this means is that you don't want to roll out a big bang software update. What you do instead is you release the software features, application, or the functionality to a limited set of internal testers, right? When I say internal testers, it also means few limited customers, right, or clients. Why is this important? You talk to the clients, you tell them that hey, we have a new build that we are releasing and we would like your feedback on it. We would like to give you a early preview. Also, sometimes people call this as feature flags. Now what that is you release that particular feature to a limited set of users to gather their feedback, input, or report back any defects that are causing a problem. That's typically called alpha testing. It's controlled in a controlled environment, which means only a limited set of users in a certain region or city or state or based on some parameter are released to them. So with what it helps is it's the first time software is released in a production like environment to the actual users. Those users would report back if they see any issues, any defects, something is not working, etc. What are some of the tools that you manage alpha testing? So during alpha testing, we use a lot of different tools. Some of them are test management tools like TestRail, Zypher, TestLink. There are some test automation tools that you might want to perform. There are Selenium, APM, Cucumber, etc. While all this, you have released a certain features to a certain internal group of customers or clients or a limited audience, you might want to see the performance, loading, reports, security reports, compliance reports, etc. So you use a different tools for that like JMeter, Datadog, LoadRunner, NeoLoad, etc. You also want to perform static code analysis and make sure that all the code is good, your logs are looking good. For that you can use SonarQube, Checkmarx, Veracode, Datadog, etc. For in agile terms, when you want to release a feature flag, you use more advanced tools like LaunchDarkly, which helps you to release certain features based on certain conditions, which is extremely popular in nowadays when you talk about SaaS or software as a service offerings. Why is this important, right? So why is alpha testing really important? Because the main goal of alpha testing is to identify any issues or defects in the software that has been missed in the earlier stages of testing. More often than not, you'll find out that there are a lot of defects that gets caught in alpha testing. Now, this particular alpha testing is a good exercise because it helps us to validate whether the application is stable, whether is it good to roll out to a bigger audience or not. This is also a measure of the confidence in the software in the application that among internal stakeholders. It's a critical report which gives us whether there is a huge impact on the performance, usability, or reliability of the particular software. In short, just think of it that whether the software is ready to be released to a larger audience or not is the decision that we make based on alpha testing report. So like I said, the outcome of alpha testing is a report that summarizes the results of the testing, including any issues or defects that were identified. These defects and issues will then be categorized into the severity, and then the business or the management will take a call whether to go ahead with releasing this particular version or hold on and go back and fix those defects. Hence, it's extremely critical for the success of a bigger success of the application. We need to have a positive outcome of alpha testing. Now let's talk about some of the advantages. Like I mentioned, early detection of the issues. Defects are caught very early in process, even before they are released to a larger audience, which may cost us either business or revenue, etc. Alpha testing, one of the biggest advantage is it's in a controlled environment, right? You can always switch on, switch off the feature flags, or since you're testing with a limited set of users, it's carefully selected users, so that way you don't lose on your business, revenue, or legal issues. It helps us in improving the quality because we get early report, early feedback. We can always improve our quality of the code or the application. With a positive report, there's always a confidence that builds in the application, and that is what gets reflected into the usability of the experience of the user. It's cost effective. When releasing to a small set of users, your risk of losing business is less. Hence, it is the most cost effective way to go to a limited set of group of users and then release it to a larger audience. What are the some of the disadvantages, right? Limited scope for, since it's performed on a small group of users, what happens typically is that you do not get a comprehensive assessment of the software's quality. It will work fine for those 10, 100 users, but what if it scales to 5 million, right? Will it, that assessment is not yet done in alpha testing. Again, since it's a limited set of people, you get limited feedback. And cost and time, alpha testing is costly because you're trying with a real set of users, and you might you know lose business if they are not interested, if they lose their business, right? You're serving someone, and if they lose the business, you lose the business as well. Now, limited compatibility, since we are not identifying issues related to certain hardware configuration, it is limited compatibility. You don't really know the real big picture of your application till it goes live. So those are some of the disadvantages that you should be aware of when you are selecting alpha testing for your application. Alright, so that's all on the alpha testing. I hope the concept is clear. We talked about the use cases where alpha testing is used, some of the tools, advantages and disadvantages. In the next episode, we will learn about beta testing, very critical, very important concept for everybody to know. So we'll cover that in detail. Um, if you like my work and tutorials, please do continue to support me by buying me coffee at buymeacoffee.com/rtutorials. Join me in the next episode. We'll learn about beta testing. Thank you so much for joining. See you in the next episode.